this is going to be a crazy week for the market. Now, you might live under a rock and you might have missed the major news that happened on Saturday, but President Trump almost got assassinated. The bullet missed him. Some are saying his eardrum ruptured, causing some bleeding. Some say he got nicked in the ear. Some people say the bullet hit the podium and that shrapnel hit him in the ear, and that's why he was bleeding. And then you got this amazing photo that everyone's freaking out about. Now, this is going to cause chaos in the market as the market tries to figure out how to react to this. There's several things at play. His polls just spiked. Tons of donors are flowing in, and Biden's donors are asking him to resign and restricting funds. This looks like a one-sided victory is coming around the corner. I have no opinion about this at all. My job is to help you guys make money in the market. That's the only thing I care about, but we can not ignore the politics at play. And this event is definitely something you could profit from. As we can already see from stocks like DJT, which is already up 21% in the pre-market. Now, this might be playable tomorrow. And it's also important to remember that this company, True Social, is a garbage company. This is not even a company. They don't make anything. In fact, they are vomiting money right now. But this thing definitely reacts to news. We've played it before with up to 850% returns and should definitely be on your watch list. Now, there's a bunch of other things we're going to talk about. This is a very special weekly report that I'm happy to bring you along on. We have a special guest today. Noob, you want to say hi?
Hello, hello.
He's one of our Inner Circle members. He's been training alongside me for years and helps me run the Discord. We're going to be duoing this, and it's also serving as a way for me to help teach him about video editing, because he's going to make his own channel where he trades with his kids and teaches them to trade. He's going to give them each $10,000 and prove that anyone can learn options if his 10-year-old can. Now, the other thing I want to announce is we've been working on a incredible trading bot that has had amazing success, and it will go live in the Discord. But I will share all the stocks that it starts to spit out in the future as we continue to beta test it. It's very exciting. If you want to join the Discord and start to see how that is all working out so far, you can join with the link in the bio. Now, let's hop straight into the plays, talk about what we see on the market. So the first thing that's on my radar right now is QQQ. QQQ looks like it wants to crater. And actually, Noob, you've had a trade on for a minute now, haven't you?
For the Qs, I covered the Qs. It was a pairs trade. It was a pairs trade that was short the Qs, long the Russell. And I've recently, given that we've had tremendous strength in the Russell relative to the other indices, I've covered that. But I still think that we've been working towards this trend for a long time, and this relative strength in the Russell is long overdue. So I still like the trade. I will be looking at places to get back into it.
Yeah, so for those who are watching the Russell, we just broke like major levels over 212. We broke out of this wedge that we've been watching for as well and talked about on in the Discord. I don't know if we talked about this in a previous report, but it's really interesting to see the big tech companies start to underperform while all this money is flowing to the small caps. Now, some of this has to do with the rate cut expectations also adjusting, especially after we've been hearing Powell talk and we got the CPI and PPI data that came out recently. And yeah, I mean, is that a trade you're going to be putting back on then, that you're looking for any further extension on? Because I mean, this breakout, I think it's both on the daily and the weekly for QQQ. Yeah, I mean, QQQ even reversed on the weekly here. It looks like it's set up for a major breakout. And
yeah, I like it for both. I like it for both, whether or not you want to use the Qs or you want to use the SPY. Either one of them, I think, both of them have been strongly outperforming the Russell for a long time now. I mean, year plus.
Yeah, so before we talk about IBB, I do want to mention that for QQQ, this looks like a bearish flag here. Breakdown. You then had the flag going up, and it looks like we're getting another pull back to the downside that could play out tomorrow. Now, we'll have to see what the breadth looks like on the market, because I'm expecting this to be a wild open right in the morning. Some things are going to be up, some things are going to be down. There's probably going to be some big impulsive moves, especially from DJT. We mentioned that. I just mentioned that if you're trying to play this in the morning, watch those option contracts, see what they're pricing. If they're pricing in like a $20 move after the stock moves, has already moved like $15. I think it's up 20%. So I don't know. It's probably going to open around 38, $40 tomorrow. Don't touch it. It's going to be priced. Everything's going to be priced in. There's not going to be much made there. Now, if it goes up, if it ends up opening at like 34 and options are pricing in 10, then I'd say, oh, there might be some opportunity there where we could actually see this go like back up to 50, especially since, with the way these polls are looking right now. It looks like a win's guaranteed, and that might actually, if he's in for 4 years and only uses this app, maybe they can actually make some money. Maybe. But Noob, you played IBB with me, right? This has been another great one.
I did, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
It had a rough start, but it ended up pulling through.
It was a rough start.
Yeah.
We didn't have the greatest entry on that one, but it worked out.
And you've been whispering in my ear for months now about something called FXI.
FXI is the China large cap index.
Uh-huh.
Yes, FXI also looks good this level that we're at.
And
it's really struggled for a long time as well. These are the kind of plays that I like, that there's long trends that have developed. Unity's another one that's totally destroyed. But FXI has been really struggling to get over this level. I mean, China's just had several years of terrible markets. And it looks like we're trying to find some strength here. And if we can break above this level, China's got a long way, a lot of room to up on the upside with not a whole lot of resistance from here to the next place.
Right, and we could see a lot of investors start to pile in. The other thing that makes me really interested in this sector is the headlines we've been seeing. I don't know if you've seen some of these where people are saying, oh, China's going to take 10 years for the banking system recover, and that's going to cause depression in the market. And, maybe we need one more headline where people start to say China will never recover, that then we'll start to see a bounce. And some people will call it a dead cat bounce. It might be a dead cat bounce. It might not come back. Those might be true. You've got massive demographic issues in China, but nonetheless, a bounce is a bounce, a play is a play, and I think there's an opportunity here. And as viewers can see, we're watching for this wedge. And then you mentioned Unity. Unity is another one on my list. As we can see here on the daily chart, it's headed towards some major EMAs. My major level is 1854. And I'll be looking for a test of this upper EMA. We can also take note that the daily and the weekly is also starting to recover out of this channel. This could be a trap, a value trap. It could turn out to be something like that we've played before, Noob, Chewy, where we got in several months too early. Yeah, and we both had to hold and hold and hold. Did you end up playing that all the way to the upside, or did you get out too early like I did?
No, I'm still into it.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. So you played that one a lot better than I did. I got into some profits, and I'm taking these and I'm leaving.
To be fair, I was in it before I even talked you into getting in it. So my downside was a lot more painful, I think, than yours. So I needed to stay in it. And even still, I think there's some opportunity in there. There's good premiums in there. The way that I trade, the juicier the premiums, the more opportunities you have. So
right. Well, for those who don't know, Noob is typically an option seller rather than a buyer. The other Chinese name that has my attention, I don't know if you have a position here, Noob, is Neo, which has been underperforming pretty much all the other Chinese names.
I just got in last week on that too.
Yes. It looks like we're finally catching a bounce off a bottom for the first time. And it's starting to recover, and the technicals are starting to improve here. And this thing, when it finally wants to move, it might really, really, really give a move. We can see that it's actually firing on the daily here, and the weekly is starting to improve. If the weekly can improve a bit more, this thing the bot actually might even start to signal that it's bullish on this. We'll see.
This goes back to the whole China play that we were just talking about too. So Neo being the Chinese company, if the entire market catches a bid here, that's going to be beneficial for the whole narrative with that play too.
Is there any other Chinese names? Is there anyone in particular that you want to give an extra call out to?
No, not in particular. I'm trading Baba. Baba is usually my go-to for China. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, what's the other one? Baidu. Baidu as well has been really strong as of late. They came out with some news the other day and were up very large last week.
Yeah. Baba looks pretty good. Baba is having a breakout on the weekly and on the daily. And then Bidu's not looking quite as strong. It's got a little bit more ways to go before we see. Although the daily is looking good. There's a vicious reversal here on Friday though for this one. From the looks of it, is that what I'm
Yeah,
seeing here?
I don't have a position on currently in there. Just the Baba.
Yeah. All right, and then uh, have you been following? You got any Bitcoin plays on?
You say crypto, Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, yeah, crypto, Bitcoin.
No, I don't. I don't. The only thing that I have a position on is Mara. That's related to crypto.
Are you bullish, Mara?
I am. Yeah, it's a long-term play.
Yeah, Mara has been really interesting here. I still want to see Mara get over 23, but over 23, that's when you start to get these large gaps. So this one, it'll be easier to play in the short term. A lot of this has been chop, chop, chop. I'm looking for the actual $23 break. When we get that break, this thing, that's when we can get these large gap up, and that'll probably be hopefully reflected by Bitcoin. Although, to be honest, the weakness in Bitcoin isn't really being reflected. I mean, just look at the formations we have on the charts here, where this has been steadily melting up while Bitcoin's been steadily melting down over the same time frame. So Mara's really interesting. It could either be speculative retail that's about to get whopped, or it could be smart money getting in before they think they're going to get the big move on Bitcoin. If we think about the macro environment right now, hey, we're heading into the election year. There'll probably be political pressure from the Fed to cut. This is when we usually see liquidity pick up, and we can already see that is causing some names like IWM to start to rally, especially with anticipation of the rate cuts and all of that. All of that could play into a bigger move out of Bitcoin. We finally get the break to the all-time highs. We finally start making this push to 100K that I still think is on the way before the end of the year, despite all the chaos, despite the price action we've been seeing. And even if Bitcoin went down into the 40s, I'd still say, hey, I'm looking for 100K by the end of this year. I've maintained that bullish stance. Mara might give some huge returns. This might be the point at which you could, when your contracts expire for Mara.
They're leaps. I don't even know off the top of my head. I'd have to get into that account and look,
Okay,
but they're
so you
leap
got months
contracts.
and months, and I also have some long dated Maras. I think I have some January contracts that I like. The other one that's has my eye. I don't know if you like to trade this one ever, new, but I shared this in the Discord too, where there's this giant wedge on MSTR that looks pretty interesting right now.
I'm imagining that MSTR. It's usually at least like as high of a beta as Bitcoin, if not a higher beta. It's almost a derivative. The way that it behaves. So I'm imagining that MSTR is gonna be ripping tomorrow.
The next stock we should probably talk about is Intel. This thing has been absolutely bipolar. Do you want to give some thoughts here?
I'm long Intel. Again, this is another one where I've probably been long a little longer than I would have liked. This stock, I've traded this stock many times. I've traded it for earnings many times, and all too often for earnings, this stock just does nothing but disappoint. So it's going to be coming up here on earnings again soon. I am bullish, but I am a little hesitant just because I've been through this so many times with this stock where uh, it gets a bid before earnings, and you go into this earnings cycle thinking this is going to be the time that that it turns around and actually starts to perform for you, and it doesn't. So I won't be surprised if this thing isn't able to take this new level and go higher, but I am open for it, and I think everything looks set up to do that. So I'm going to stay long it.
Yeah, yeah. And if this is a wave one, which it looks to be, with a perfect retracement to the 0.618 during the volatility last week, you had that. We came back, we bounced. If this is building to another wave to the upside, this thing could go all the way to 42. So Intel should definitely be on the radar. You know, your confirmation of that trade would be a break above the 35.49 level, where we have this nice double top. If you break through above that, I think it's great to the upside. And now the one that you've been playing and making a bunch of money on, Noob, we're looking at Dash here.
Yeah, Dash is this is a bearish trade. This company, I have a little personal vendetta about this company, so it's a little easier for me to get short on it. Um, but it just recently broke below a key level, and now it's spent the last few days retracing back up to that level, trying to retake that level, and it has failed. It also has earnings coming up, I think, in 2 weeks. I think it's the August 2nd cycle that's coming for earnings for that. The first, okay. So I'm kind of hesitant to play this one in the short term, just because I'm not sure that we're going to see a large move prior to earnings. But it still has yet to be able to take that level, and I'm going to stay short it until it does. Because I mean, we're right there. The risk reward, once it breaks it back above that level, I'll get out. But until that point, I'm going to stay short.
Yeah, I mean that is great. That's like a trade we did recently with Tesla, even at this 260 level this past week, where it looked like it didn't want to quite break out. We had the failure right here, and then it ended up melting back down. Let's see if we can get a shorter time frame there. We had this huge sell wall here, and then we came in here real close to it, and I said I'm going to set up a short. I have what 5% risk coming in right at the top that we had previously. If we break above the 260, I'll reverse and go long. Ended up doing exactly that. Got stopped at the trade, only took a 5% loss, came back into the trade, ended up making 40-50% to the upside that came afterwards. Super simple trades like that. So on Dash, would you, if this did break above that level, would this be something that you would think about getting long on, or are you too
I
biased?
won't get long. I won't get long on principle, but I will get out of my short.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. And now another one that you've been playing to the upside that has had an incredible rally. And I want to just say that Noob was really early in talking about this into the Discord, well before this thing took off. Like when it was just like $2-3. You were mentioning this, and are you still in it right now?
I am at, well, to be fair, I was in it back when it was trading down around $3, and then I have since gotten out and taken profits in this up move. But I did get back in on this. It would have been last week I got back in on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean this move is incredible. This thing has just broke a very key level, and it could easily continue an extension. We have a great setup on the daily, and the weekly chart only recently really got some ups, some positive action on the TTM squeeze here. We can even see like the momentum is coming back to this name. It's constantly testing these overbought levels and pushing higher and higher. We could be looking at a crazy third wave that's playing out right now. This is kind of like the trade that we had on Tesla, where we rode this thing from the 180s to the 200s. Okay, so Jimmy at this $30 level might seem nuts, but if this is a third wave, which looking at the impulsivity of this move, looking at the momentum building into it, it looks like something similar could be occurring here, and you still have 100% upside on this name if it does want to play out. So that's
This
good.
one's also moving on an upgrade too. So there are catalysts that are helping in this move as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that plays into a bunch of trends where we're getting more liquidity pulling into global markets. Be very interesting to see how this continues to play out. That's going to be it for this week reports. Thanks, Noob, for joining. Hey, everyone, if you want to hang
Thanks for
out with
having me.
if you want to hang out with Noob and I while we trade all day, check out the link down below in the Discord, and make sure you subscribe to Noob's new YouTube channel, Noobs. That's a tongue twister, man.
Too
we'll,
many news.
we'll be adding the link into the bio soon once that's up and running. So, hope you all enjoyed. God bless.